Hello and welcome to Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, home of the 2025 WBSC Men's Softball World Cup Final. I'm joined here by Kris Abbott, Kyle Smith, a bit of a reunion. 10 years ago we were here calling a championship. We're back here now for the best 8 softball nations in the world going head to head. And when we talk about this different format, we agreed that the format change is beneficial. Let's talk first about the defending champs, Kyle, in the Aussies. No Nick Shale, no Adam Fulkard, but certainly contenders.
I mean, contenders for sure. Speaking with head coach Michael Titteridge, it was not that they're looking to defend. They are coming here to win the 2025 event. They celebrated until they got on the plane to come here. It is now all about winning 2025. It's all about focusing on the task at hand. Yes, you're missing the veterans, but they still have tons of veterans behind them. You look at Jack Besgrove, one of the best in the world. You look at James Todhunter, the captain of the team. He's been here, he's done it, he's got the world title. So, I mean, yes, you're missing some guys, but they are just as good as any time, and they are here to win, not to defend. They're here to win.
So speaking of which, of course, we have to talk about host nation Canada. Last time they won a world championship on home soil, back here again. The team seems to have a great mix of your veteran leadership and some younger guys coming up, but experience the key. What are your thoughts on Canada, Kris?
It's been the first time in a long time we've seen the absolute best for Canada, because they've known as the host that they were going to be in here. So in the group stage last year, they sent a team that is probably more like the future, but right now they've got a team that is the present. Pre-tournament event in Saskatoon where, yes, 10 years to the day, they won this pre-tournament event the other day. So I think when you look at it, Canada's got, returning ace and Sean Cleary. Devin McCullough's looking fantastic. And then the top of the order when you've got, Shane Boland, Brad Escott, all these names that you've heard before. I think they'll be right there in the mix, and I think the home fans are going to be really happy with the product that Canada brings.
So one of the teams that always seems to bring a little bit of a surprise, they have all the talent, of course, and the experience. We talk about Japan, Kyle. Maybe not looking as strong as they have in the past, but once again, we don't really know until the tournament starts.
Yeah, you really don't know, but the question coming in, and the question has been, they've had those down cycles, right? It's something that we're not used to seeing. How do they rebound? How do they come in? And seeing them this past weekend at the pre-tournament, there's a lot more questions, I think, than answers still. Yes, they've kind of changed their philosophy in terms of, going power long ball. But I know Kris talking to the head coach, it's all, we can still do what got us to the top, towards the top of the mountain in 2019. So, they're interesting. It's very much more questions, but there's going to be answers come Tuesday, and they're in the hunt. I mean, all these 8 teams, any one of them can win the title.
So with that said, of course, Kris, let's talk a little bit about a couple of the dark horses in this, and you and I were in Oklahoma City for group stage and saw the United States very dominant performance in winning that and earning their spot here. What are your thoughts about the USA and how they built their program up to potentially be a contender?
It's been a while since the United States has been at the top here in the international men's game, but you really got to listen, they got 2 strong pitchers. They've got a lineup that can hurt you from top to bottom. They've got some young kids coming along as well that can step right in. So maybe a dark horse in the sense that we're not used to them being podium contenders, although they did get their last time around. So I don't think we should count out the United States. It's been a while since they've been considered a powerhouse in men's international softball, but I think they have every opportunity to be there on Sunday. You've got one of the best pitchers in the world over the last few years in Marco Diaz, and as we know with this sport, if you got the best pitching, you probably got the best team. And they've got the offense to back it up. Talk about Group C last year in the qualifying in Oklahoma City. They ran the table. They won the final game 10-0 over the aforementioned team from Japan. They won the round robin game 9-4, 9-5. So they're able to put up the runs against the top teams, and that's going to be key here in Prince Albert for the U.S. So not a dark horse for me, Lance. I think they're going to be right there at the end.
All right. Well, we'll either go dark horse, light horse, whatever horse, either way. But we'll move to when you talk about New Zealand 2022, probably their lowest finish in a while. They've rebuilt since then, make some changes. They now appear to be one of the contenders. Kyle, you've had a chance to see them in their preparation up to this event. What are your thoughts on New Zealand?
Yeah, I think they're right in the conversation. To me, it's looking at rebounding from 22. I mean, you talk about we could literally pencil them into the finals for how many years, right? And then you get to 2022, 2019, you could see that downward trend, but they're fully looking back to make amends, get right back into the hunt. Bringing in Thomas Makia, living legend of New Zealand softball. It doesn't get, more true to New Zealand Black Sox roots than Thomas there. But they've looked good, and you could put them in a dark horse situation. They're a team that for sure could be there next Sunday. I would say the opening night game after opening ceremonies between Canada and New Zealand, that goes a heck of a long way in deciding that pool in terms of the second team getting into the Super Round for sure.
So let me ask you both the same question as we round out the field. We look at the Latin teams in Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and Argentina. Those guys, of course, clearly can contend. Kris, what are your thoughts on not necessarily grouping them together, but their chance to come into this and how well you think they'll do?
I mean, I think from my perspective, I would have Venezuela and the Dominican Republic as two teams that are going to need to really up their level. Not that they're not good teams, but coming in here and after the qualifying rounds last year in the group stage, I think they're teams that still have some questions to answer. Dominican ran the table in Mexico in Group A. They look fantastic doing it. And when they're at their best, they're just as good as anybody. For the Dominican Republic, it's going to be adjusting to the high stuff, right? And that's not a new story when it comes to those guys. A lot of baseball background, so the swings can be a little down. But the difference last year, they adjusted, and that's why they did so well at the end of the week. So I look for those two teams to be very difficult outs for some of the so-called favorites. And then when it comes to Argentina, for me, I mean, they were the champions in 2019. They're a team that has been together. The core of this team has been together right from the junior ranks, and they've had nothing but success. So there's no reason to think that Argentina isn't one of the favorites here this week for me, and I don't know how Kyle feels.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I would say if we were looking at, favorites, betting favorites, if you want to say, Argentina would be likely one of those top dogs in the field that everybody's kind of looking at and being like, they are the targeted, right? Current number one in the world. So, I mean, they come in with that edge, and like Kris said, I mean, they have had tremendous success in winning in so many years, right? It started in the junior ranks, and it's just carried on through. And the core of this team won in 2019.
So when you talk about those, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. If you could give me a couple of guys from whatever team you feel may be a contending team, that may be the X Factor guys, the guys that maybe don't bat in the top five, that are going to come down to needing that big hit. Who, Kris, would you say in your mind maybe stands out, a couple of guys that, may surprise some people?
Yeah, I hate to default to the pitchers and then default to the host team. Like, I feel like I'm scoring points with the local organizing committee. But Devin McCullough is a pitcher from right here in Saskatchewan for Canada. He has been off the team over the last couple of years. He's rejoined this year. By all accounts, he's in the best shape of his career, and the evidence is clear. This past weekend in Saskatoon, where, by the way, he was outstanding in the 2015 championship win. He dominated the Japanese lineup, and then he had a two-hitter, I believe, or one, whatever it was, not much, one actually, against New Zealand in the championship game of that event. So if Devin McCullough is prime Devin McCullough, and you add him to Sean Cleary, Justin Schofield, Ty Sebastian on that staff, I would say Canada may have the deepest pitching staff, and that could be an X factor, if you will.
Give me yours, Kyle. I'm very curious to see. You've been well-versed in most of these teams, at least as far as seeing their lead up to this tournament here. I
mean, there's two to me that really come to mind, and it's building off of the success that they've seen. Alan Pecker's a guy for me that at Argentina can change a game on its head. He can hit anywhere in the lineup 1 through 9. But the other guy also is a guy that was in the players to watch. For me, it's Callum Bishop. He has had success along the way, was part of the coaching staff of the U18 team down in Hermosillo. He does it all. He can pitch, he can field, hits so well. He's a guy for sure that you have to watch this week and say, if he gets hot, he is a game changer for Australia.
And we've watched him grow from when he was a junior up until now, where he's obviously a big part of the leadership role with Team Australia. And on the spot.
Just real quick, don't want to forget about Venezuela. they are a team, like Kris said about Dominican, like looked like world busters down in Hermosillo. Kris and I talked about it down there in the pre-tournament. Like all of a sudden you could look up and they're at the top of the table, and that's exactly what happened. So I mean, Maker Pimentel and Colombo, their 1-2 punch, I mean, they are good as anybody. The big question is how well can their bats go, and it's all going to start with Rafa Flores.
He's the leader of that team for sure. One more time, put you guys on the spot.
Yeah.
Your top 3, 1, 2, 3. Give it to me straight, Kris.
Yeah, you try not to have too much recency bias. So going into the pre-tournament last week, and of course we only saw half the field, right? But for me, it was Australia right up there with Argentina, and then 3, I think it could be anybody. And Australia, I go with, they are the defending champs. So whether they want to put it there that they're defending champs or not, they're the defending champs. So you have to give them that respect. And number 3, man, I don't know. Like Canada could be there, New Zealand could be there, Japan could be there. There's the Dominican could be there. Anybody could be there. Even though the Dominican's the lowest ranked team, when Gonzalez gets going on the mound, hey. So I'm just looking forward to an amazing week of ball. I know we've got the best format we've ever had here for this final, and I'm just so excited that we're here for it.
Definitely not a homer, without a doubt. Kyle, give me yours.
I'm I'll give you top 4. Right off top, I've got Argentina, I've got Australia, I have got the U.S. I think the U.S., if they don't come in and are in the finals, I think that is something that they will look back and say that's a missed opportunity this year. Canada is in my top 4. New Zealand for sure, a dark horse. Those would be like 5, but my 4 I think are pretty set with Argentina, Australia, USA, and Canada. My 1, 2, 3 finish, I'll say I had it different than I do right now, and I'm using some recency bias. I'm actually going to change. I think I'm going to go USA, Canada in the final, and I'm going to go Argentina, Australia in the bronze medal game.
Well, there you had it. The experts at
What
it
about
for
you?
Sure.
You're calling these games just as well. You're not getting off the hook.
I will be the only homer in the bunch. I think that when you talk about the experience and the talent, I think Canada right now is playing their best ball. I think they've done a great lead up and they're strong. They would be my first pick. Argentina, they've been there. And as far as I'm concerned, you never rule out the defending champions in Australia. So those would be my 1, 2, 3. And, the time will tell, like you said.
Sure.
Best 8 nations in the world on display. There will not be a bad game. So we look forward to it, and we look forward to you joining us here on Gametime.sport.